Hi and welcome to this latest video blog from me, Dave Baxter. And I thought I'd get away from the idea of a car cast and make it a hotel cast. So this is coming to you from the Columbia Hotel in hot and sweaty and sticky London. You know, that London place. And what I wanted to talk to you about today, should I say, is something called the Spheres technique. And in its most basic form, this technique is a very simple process for gaining clarity of thought, and it can be used in many areas of your life. It's quite similar to my Wheel of Life technique that I use, but it's a lot simpler. So what you have to do is, first of all, get yourself a pen and a blank sheet of paper. And on that blank sheet of paper, what I want you to do is draw 3 fairly big circles, because you've got to write in them basically, and number them from 1 to 3. When you've got the circles drawn, in the first one I want you to write a question, and I've used some example questions. You use whichever ones are relevant to you. So in the example, my first question is, where am I spiritually? In number 2, you write, where am I in my family life? And number 3, you write, where am I in my career? Okay? Having done that, you then look back at the question in circle number 1, and you start to answer the question, writing down your answers. You might feel that you're totally focused on your spiritual existence, and once you've written your answer down, then score it between 1 and 10. And in this particular case, I've suggested that the person that's doing this scored it as an 8 or a 9. Then move to section 2, circle number 2, and answer the same question. Answer the question in the same way. So where are you in your family life? And when you've written the answer, evaluate it, scale of 1 to 10. And in my example, I've used that the person answering it evaluated their family life as a 5. And then look at circle number 3. And again, the same question, where am I in my career? Answer that, evaluate the answer. And in my example, it evaluated to a number 2. So it can be easily seen that from these answers, the person would have a great spiritual personality, have a moderate or a mediocre family life, and be really hacked off with their job. So that should begin to suggest possible courses of action. The aim then is to take whatever action is necessary to bring the scores in the circles into balance. So in order to that, you would be required to ask yourself questions and answer with total honesty. An example of the questions that you would be asking are, what positive action must I take to help me modify my score and bring it closer to my spiritual score? And do the same with your career score. So you do it for the family, do it for the career. And once you've identified the actions that you can take, the next question that you ask is, what must I do to make this happen? And having identified those things, you can then start to see where this is going. You can start to draw up an action plan. And once you've drawn up the action plan, if you follow that, excuse me, I've got a pretty itchy shoulder. If you follow the action plan, it will, as long as you've written the right things down, it will bring you more into balance. And being in balance is what this life's all about. As well as having fun, of course, you've got to be in balance. So that's one use of the Spheres technique. Now there is another one, there's probably many more, but these are the 2 that I'm going to focus on. And the other one is if you're considering starting a new venture, might be opening a business, say, you could actually use this to identify areas appropriately. So the technique's the same. You draw the circles and you ask the questions, etc. So my chosen questions for somebody that was starting in business or wanted to start a business would have been, what can I be great at in circle 1? What will the world pay for in circle 2? And what then do I have to do in circle 3? Now, the one thing here is that these questions are slightly different because they lead you from circle 1 to circle 2 and circle 2 to circle 3 and so on. So in circle 1, the answers that you might put down about what you can be great at could be kickboxing, knot tying, driving and graphic design. What can I be great at? There you go. Your strengths. So next, what would the world pay for? Well, immediately you can, from a business point of view, you can discount kickboxing and knot tying because people wouldn't pay for that in general. But they would pay for somebody who could drive, and they would pay for graphic design work. So you've now got two choices. What would I have to do? It's very simple. What do you have to do to enable you to move the two projects forwards? And you may find that you are able to move the driving idea further forwards because of the type of person you are than you could the graphic design. So you then get a clear-cut choice out of your two options as to which one you would take forwards. So that's two possible uses of the spheres technique. Maybe there are more. I don't know of any at the moment, but I have heard that there are people who use 5 spheres, but I don't know what the way they use them and what questions they ask, etc. But if I do ever find out, I will elaborate still further on this. So from a rather hot, rather warm That London, this is Dave Baxter for Altered Image signing off and saying, remember, don't predict the future, create it. Take care and I'll see you soon. Cheers.